Okay, enough is enough. It's time to put an end to the plugin overload madness and actually learn what it takes to mix professional sounding vocals without drowning in a sea of endless plugins. So in this video, I'm going to educate and teach you a technique that will transform your mixing process forever. So say goodbye to counterproductive stacks of plugins and hello to pristine studio quality sounding vocals. Okay, let's learn something. One of the biggest obstacles that you're going to face when learning how to mix isn't even mixing at all. It's all of the bad advice you're gonna find on social media such as Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and everywhere else. There's a ton of it. Here are just a few of the posts that I've just recently come across on my Instagram feed, and it's pretty concerning. I mean, on the majority of these, every single insert slot is full of plugins. This one says usual vocal chain. And look at how many people liked it. So right there, psychologically, your mind is telling you, this is how I should mix my vocals. No, we're here to fix that. Now, I know by just seeing these plugins that this is not going to produce a sound that would compete with the commercial standard, but I wanted to recreate one of these vocal chains so you can hear for yourself. So I'm just gonna take this one here because it actually shows the settings of each of the plugins, or at least kind of shows them. I'm gonna try to recreate that. So the first thing that I wanna do is make sure that I've got a proper gain stage on that. And I'm shooting for around -18 here.
Catch the wave, it won't last forever. Catch the wave.
And that's going to ensure that I know that the plugins are at least going to be working as they should. The first thing that they've got on here is a tuner. So I'm gonna turn that on. This one just sort of works automatically.
Catch the wave, it won't last forever. Catch the wave.
Okay, good enough. All right, so the next thing that they've got is a EQ, and they're using the Pro Q3, so I'm gonna use the same thing. And for this, they say that they just hover over the graphics here and just see where the peaks are, and then that way they can just pull them down. So that's what we're gonna do.
Catch the wave, it won't last forever. Catch the wave. Catch the wave, it won't last forever. Catch the wave. Catch the wave, it won't last forever. Catch the wave.
And then they say they've got a high pass filter.
Catch the wave, it won't last forever. Catch the wave.
Okay, that looks pretty similar. So we'll leave that in. Next thing they've got is a compressor, just a regular old transparent compressor. They're using the fab filter, but I think we can get by with this. And I'm looking at the ratio that they've chosen and attack, and they've got a little bit, it kept going up on the gain, so let's see what that does. So it looks like they were trying to get about 4 dBs worth of compression.
Catch the wave, it won't last forever. Catch the wave.
Now we've got a de-esser, and the range is pretty cranked up. The compression on that is pretty high, and the range is really high. So we've got like, what is that? 4. So it's about 3, 5, 9. So 3, 6 will do that. And then, gosh, 18K. Okay, so let's see what that sounds like.
Catch the wave, it won't last forever. Catch the wave. Will you lose all hope? Catch the wave, it won't last forever. Catch the wave.
All right, moving on here. So we've got the LA2A. This is going to be the silver one. So I've got that. And their settings. Got a lot of gain on that. Might have to adjust some of these things because they might not have set their gain properly. So this may be a little bit hot, but let's see. And they've got it compressed pretty good.
Catch the wave. It won't last forever. Catch the wave. Catch the wave.
So you can hear a lot of those breaths coming back up, sounding a little bit vacuuming. But we shall move on. Okay, so now a Pultec, I've got that. And it's kind of hard to read the knob here where the line is, but I'm guessing it's kind of where the brightness is shining on this picture. So like between 3 and 4 maybe is where it is. And we're on 60 hertz, which is very like surprising to me. And then again on the top end, we're at 10K, but it's hard to read, but does it not look like we're right in front of the 6? So let's try that. That's quite a lot. Let's see what that sounds like.
Catch the wave. It won't last forever. Catch the wave.
So really brightens that up. Okay. Now by itself, you may be thinking that does sound like it's a little bit enhanced, but if you were to put that with the mix, I'm just not so sure. It might just really sound disconnected from everything else because there's really not anything on here that, speaks to me logically that it would help glue it to the rest of the mix. But let's just take a listen to what all of these sound like, with and without the plugins first.
Catch the wave. It won't last forever. Catch the wave. Catch the wave. It won't last forever. Catch the wave.
So we've added a lot of compression. We've added a lot of gain back in. I mean, we've got three different types of compressors because, with the de-esser, a de-esser is basically a compressor, but we're almost at the entire frequency range here. So that's basically just acting like another compressor. And we've got 2 different EQs doing some different things. And what I have found is a lot of these posts, they tell you that, you have to do these cuts, these surgical EQ moves. Like that's the first thing you do. And then you do what's referred to as a tonal EQ, and it's just very counterintuitive. So, which is why I think that this is plug-in overkill, plug-in overload, and we've got to come back from that because if you think about some of the greatest sounding records that we actually use as reference tracks to some of these, to a lot of these actually, they don't. Well, for one, they didn't use any of these. They really just recorded and got a tone, but they're not EQing necessarily. They're not taking out all of these peaks to mix. And then when you take those out, you've got to use the compressor to try to level things out and to bring everything back up again. And I think there's just a better way. In fact, I know there's a better way, and I'm going to show you that right now. So let's take a look at the same vocal, and I'm just going to send it through my mixing template system of a few parallel buses, just like I would on an analog console. So those are all bypassed. I've got 3 parallels set up here, and I believe that there's 3 main components to enhancing a vocal: analog warmth, saturation, and heavy compression. So I'm going to send this to my bus. This is on bus 15. All of these are. So it's going to hit all of them equally. So let's just take a listen to see what that sounds like.
Catch the wave. It won't last forever. Catch the wave.
We've brought in a fullness. We've brought in character. And we've brought in a balanced vocal that sounds present, that I know is going to connect with the rest of the mix, which I know is going to sound like it's made its own space within the mix without sounding like it's just riding on top of it way out front. And I'm just running these through the parallel buses that are already set on my template. And if my vocals are gained correctly at around minus 18 dBFS, then my parallels don't need to be tweaked. So I can then blend this combination to work with any genre. You now know the 3 vocal mixing components: analog warmth, saturation, and heavy compression. And with that knowledge, you can use the plugins that you already have. These are just the ones that I like, and you have the ones that you like, so use them. Now, I will say you can get a more in-depth education and learning experience on what all goes into mixing professional sounding vocals by joining my vocal mixing course, the Modern Mix Vocals. I've got that available at a special discounted price at the moment. This vocal mixing course teaches you from start to finish on how to mix vocals for any style of music. It's even got included multi-tracks for you to practice with. And if you're enrolling during this special, all of the mixing templates are included. I've got that for Logic, Studio One, Pro Tools, and Luna. You get them all. But this discount won't last long, so I hope you are catching this video when it's on sale. And I do my vocal EQing here with a special dynamic high-pass filter technique that will only pull down unwanted low end when it builds up too much and leaving the fullness in when it's appropriate. This is a way better sound than adding a Pultec and pushing up a woolly 60 hertz. I'll leave a link to the video where I teach you this dynamic EQ technique down in the description. Now, let's compare the two back to back.
Catch the wave. Catch the wave. It won't last forever. Catch the wave. It won't last forever. Catch the wave.
I don't know about you, but that sounds like an overcompressed, overprocessed vocal that is way too loud, that is not going to sit very well with the mix. And the one that's going through the template just sounds so much warmer, fuller, just a nice, professional, analog quality to it that's going to connect nicely to the rest of the mix. Automatically adding a plugin just because you saw someone do it is not mix engineering. We know what pro sounding vocals sound like. We have the tools to mix pro sounding vocals, but the key is learning what makes vocals sound professional. And now you know. If you would like a more in-depth style of learning how to mix professional vocals, make sure to check out my vocal mixing course, the Modern Mix Vocals. There's lessons on there on how to get vocals to sit perfectly within any style of music. We've got rock, pop, rap, country. I go over it all step by step. If you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to support this channel and keep seeing more videos just like this one, consider hitting the subscribe button. It's totally free to do that. All right, y'all, thanks so much for watching. We'll talk soon.